So today we saw Parallel Mothers by Pedro Almodóvar. Don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry in advance, Sir Pedro. So unfortunately, this was a great movie. If I had seen it in 2021, it probably would have been a pretty high contender for one of my favorites. It did come out in 2021, but unfortunately, I have to start off this review with a really big con, like a really bad point going against this movie. And unfortunately, that was the trailers for this movie. I was seeing the trailers for this movie for about a month before it actually came out. And these trailers are abysmal. They give you no setup, no information whatsoever into what this movie is really about. And what this movie is about and the story it tells is fascinating and engaging beyond all comprehension. But the trailer just does not do it justice at all. Like, Pedro, dude, you made this movie. You really need to sell me on it. I was sleeping on this movie for a month. Like I was not planning on seeing this movie at all. But at one point, uh earlier last week, maybe not even a week ago, I saw the I was looking at my AMC list of movies, upcoming movies, and what's playing right now. And I just saw the name Parallel Mothers, and I was like, "What's that about?" I don't know what that's about because I just did not pay attention to those trailers. Like I probably saw the name Parallel Mothers like once or twice, and it just completely flew my mind. So I didn't bother seeing this movie, and I didn't bother. I mean, I didn't bother trying to remember to see it. So I saw the name Parallel Mothers last week, and I was like, "What's this about?" So I looked it up, and I don't know if I realized before or after I read the synopsis for this movie, but around the same time I read the synopsis and like the first paragraph on its wiki plot page, I realized it was the same movie that I was sleeping on for a month. So I read the synopsis and I was like, really, I shouldn't say the synopsis, just the first paragraph of the plot because I did not see a synopsis for this movie, and I thought, wow, this is good. This is a cool story, and the only thing go it's funny because the fact that the trailer's so bad actually it's funny because if the trailer had told you any more about what happens in this movie, you would have been spoiled rotten. And that's probably also a pretty big falter with this movie is as soon as certain plot points start lining up, you start to see the ending of the movie real quick. Although you don't know how it ends and how the characters react, but you know factually what's going to happen by the end of the movie by like the first half hour of the movie. Like not even. Like it's just so easy to see. And just to give a little non-spoilerly synopsis for this movie, basically this woman meets a guy, they have a baby. He was against having the baby. She was gonna have the baby no matter what. Uh and this is all based on the trailer. Like that's all the information you get. There's a girl and they hook up and she was gonna stay and watch the baby as like a maid or something. And the girl started taking it more personally. And there was like a plot point in the trailer about how the baby might or may not be the mother's or even the father's for that matter. It was confusing. It was but and like there was just so much fluff in the trailer that it just derived completely away from the main focus of the trailer. Like it should be like the fact that this woman has a baby and she doesn't know if it's hers, but we don't even know that. It very likely was hers, but it might not have been the father's. So it was just kind of gearing up as like a weird drama movie of stupid shit. Just It was not helped by the trailer, because I'm telling you right now, once you find out what this movie is about, it is much more engaging, and I loved it. So if you want to listen a little bit further to find out what this movie is more about, like that the trailer doesn't tell you, warn you, it's gonna kind of give away some crucial plot points, but I won't. I'll let you know when you absolutely need to stop watching and just go watch it. Because I'm telling you, you should go watch this and just go into it knowing that it is a fun drama. It's a great drama uh, that includes mothers and their babies, and there's men. There's like a guy that is kind of like a force to be reckoned with. I don't know. I don't want to say antagonistic, but he's just, if that sounds interesting enough to you, and the fact that it's a Spanish drama, which you might think, oh, Spanish, that's probably much more dramatic and much more fun to watch. It was. I think the Spanish really elevated it by a lot. But yeah. So I'm gonna start talking about the movie proper. So movie starts out with, you got Janice meets Arturo, and they talk about an excavation project that Janice wants to get funded. And this plot point is actually one of the coolest, if not my most, it's probably my favorite, but it only comes in at the very beginning, a little bit in the middle, and very like at the absolute end of this movie. This excavation project is a subject at all. The excavation in question is to recover the dead bodies of her great grandfather, and this whole town's uh, family history, because there's a bunch of dead bodies sitting in their backyard. And this Arturo is like a very popular uh, excavationist, geologist. No, he digs up corpses. I guess, I don't know. He's a good guy. They fall in love. They have a baby a year later, and she is set into a hospital room with another girl who is also having a baby, and they give birth the same day. That is the point. You should stop listening and just go watch it. So I'm gonna just talk about the rest of the movie from here on out. So, uh, Janice has, leaves the hospital with her baby Cecilia, and Anna, the other girl who was in the hospital, leaves with her baby. There's some family drama in both of their families. I'll talk about that. Janice um, is having complications with Arturo. Arturo meets the baby and assumes that Cecilia is not actually his child. And so she has doubts. She gets a maternity test. She finds out that she is 100% not the mother of Cecilia. And so she gets in contact with Anna, because they exchanged numbers. They had a little fun meetup at the hospital. They're the best of friends now. And just kidding. And they meet up, and Anna unfortunately tells her that her baby died from a crib death, which they described it as the brain wasn't fully developed enough, and basically the brain just forgot to make the baby breathe. Like the brain just fucked up, and the baby died due to a lack of breathing. It's unfortunate. So at this point in the movie, you're probably thinking, it's a drama about two babies and two mothers. Maybe the babies were swapped at birth. If the one baby is not Janice's baby, probably Anna's, and Anna's baby is probably Janice's. So it's pretty obvious right from the get go. But then through depression and whatnot, Anna consoles into Janice. They move in together. Really, Anna moves in with Janice, and eventually Janice tells Anna that Cecilia is Anna's baby, and They fight a little bit, but then they're still the best of friends. And Janice meets up with Arturo after the fact. They start the excavation, and that's basically the movie. Uh, let me know if you don't want me to just go through the whole story like that. I honestly wasn't very comfortable doing that. I don't know if I want to do that again. If you're watching, leave a comment. Tell me if you like me just going through the whole rigmarole like that. Just fast forward. But now I'm going to start talking about the pros and cons and just general thoughts. And one scene in particular that I want to give a big shout out for, I think might go underappreciated, but in terms of telling the story it wants to tell and how to tell it well, and not just make it sound kind of over dramatic, and gives you consistency. I don't know how to put it, but basically, Anna lives with her mom at the beginning of the movie, and she's estranged from her mother and her father. They don't have a good relationship, the three of them, and Anna's mom wants to be a actress, and she just got this huge gig where she has to go on tour, and she won't be able to stay with Anna and watch the baby. And the scene, well, actually, I jumped ahead there. She was doing a little, bit of practice, doing her job acting, and the director suddenly comes out and says, "This is the scene that they showed this scene, and that's why I like this." The director told her, like, we're going to be on tour. We're not going to be able to stay here in fuck. I forget what the town there is. I forget the town that they're in, but whatever. Not Madrid. They can't stay. They had to go on tour. Mother is devastated and can't tell her, or goes to Anna and tells her. The thing that I like about this is that the mother's not that Anna's mother isn't like a huge character in the movie, although does have development. The fact that the movie went through the trouble of actually uh, showing us her reaction to the tour schedule and having to leave Anna with the baby, it doesn't just put us on Anna's side. Like, this is mostly Janice's story. Like, Anna is more of the supporting character, and this movie is mostly about Janice. Uh, and so, but the thing is, Anna's story is so much more tragic because she's estranged from both her parents. Her parents are terrible parents, and she would rather not talk to them or be with them ever again. Uh, but the fact that they gave her mother some sort of character, audience connection, I felt really elevated the believability of what transpires. I'm probably hyping that up more than I probably should, but I just think that scene did a lot for the movie, because we don't just see Anna's mom as a heartless bitch or some stereotypical dramatic queen of some sort. She has a character. She has thoughts and opinions, and she was distressed when she found out she had to go on tour. So it was nice to see that. Um, I'm gonna start talking about the pros more before I start talking about the cons. Other than that, but before I go to that, my general thoughts kind of just end at the fact that this was just a well directed movie. I wouldn't like none of the actors none of them really in particular like grabbed me like in a much bigger way. Everyone just did a great job. The story was really well put together. There's some parts that like felt like don't know about that. Otherwise, I thought this movie was just a really well constructed film. I saw later, doing a little bit of research, that this movie was nominated to be the Spanish foreign film for the Academies. Like, there's like a bunch of Spanish films, and it was that up against two other Spanish films, and they were up against each other to see which one would be which one would be nominated for the Spanish nominee for the Oscars foreign film category. If you understood that, good. I'm not gonna try it again. But it didn't win. Unfortunately, it was a different movie, so I'm sure that one is so much better. But yeah. So one of the things that liked more, I really liked about this movie was, I don't know if I'm pulling what the hell's the phrase? I, a rabbit out of my hat? No, something out of my ass. Uh, when I'm claiming that the theming of family and accepting the people you want as your family is a good theme. I don't know what I just said. I believe that the theming, or the theme, I think there is a theme of people, of meeting people, other people, and accepting them as family over the family. Basically, you can choose your family, and the people you choose are your true family. And I think that that's really evident in the whole fact that, like, by the end of the movie, is just a conglomerate of broken people who are estranged from their families in one way or another, whether through death, adoption, or baby death. Not adoption. Uh, Divorce. But like, once you have your family and the people you love, like, those people stay with you forever, and that was very evident in this movie. In one way or another, you could argue against that, but the ending was just very sincere. It ends with the excavation of the town's people's. Well, you see, Janice is from a town, and this town's during, like, the Mexican Spanish War, something, some sort of war, um, Spanish War, I think it was called, not the Mexican War. This didn't take place in Mexico. A bunch of men were taken from their houses, and they were forced to dig their own graves or something, and they were shot and killed, murdered, uh, right outside the town's boundaries or something. So at the end of the movie, the Arturo digs up all the bodies, and they're all just laid out right in the dirt, and everyone, uh, everyone there who's has family, and the people of that family, friends of that family, come to mourn the death of their fallen kin, who they are only now able to put into eternal peace, because they're just in ditches outside the town. Heaven. They're not going to find their way to heaven or something like that. Like, now they can be buried with their actual wives or other loved ones. So, but it was the thing about the family is, everyone in this movie, they run away from the people who uh, are their family, their biological family, and find family through other people. And it's evident through Arturo, who falls in love with Janice, and they have a baby, and then by the end they have a second baby who's only still being developed. Um, Arturo leaves his wife, who was going through cancer treatment, and now she's alive and good now, and she survived it. And he told her, "Oh, I've been cheating on you this whole time, by the way." Yeah, that was one of the weird things about this movie. But I guess for the sake of um coming up with an excuse for Arturo not to have the baby, I guess it's like, you know, I wouldn't say it's a plot device, but it's just kind of awkward. um, but so yeah, and then you have Anna, who is estranged from her parents, and they or she, finds her daughter, and she moves in with Janice, and they become an item, and they raise this baby together. And at the end of the movie, when Janice tells Anna about the swap, at first Anna's furious, as you rightfully should be. Like, you've known that you've had my child for X amount of time, and you didn't tell me. Yeah, that creep under your skin, and but then by the next morning, like, they talk over the phone, and they just kind of reconcile, and it was just a really nice moment. You'd think by the end of this movie that it was just going to be drama. Someone was going to get shot, or someone was just going to commit suicide, because it's a tragedy. Like, this movie is a tragedy. A baby dies. It wasn't even your baby to begin with, and your friend has your baby, and you had to give up that baby. Your husband, or not your husband, but your child's father, is kind of like, he's fucking around with this other woman who's his wife, and this whole movie's a mess. Everyone in this movie is in the middle of a mess, but they all come together by the end, and they all choose each other. And I think that's what was really nice about this movie, is that it is a tragedy, but it ended on a really high note. It didn't need to escalate to, criminal charges or a court case. It just ended with everyone, reconciling and agreeing to forgive and forget, or not, maybe not forget, but forgive, and they do, and everyone's happy, and it's great. I loved it. Instead of just being just a pure tragedy where someone dies or something at the end, or someone throws the book at someone else, it's just everyone just says, okay, I mean, this is the reality we're in, and this is what we got to do, and that's what was great about this movie. Honestly, I think that was the greatest thing about this movie, is just showing that people can reconcile and just move on with each other, and that's a great thing to learn from. Otherwise, that was all the good stuff. That was probably the best thing about this movie. Like I said, it was just a generally overall just good movie, like, great movie, good acting, great acting, but nothing totally stand out to me, at least. Uh, honestly, the worst thing about this movie was the trailer. And that's unfortunate, because this was a great movie, and I think the trailer just did not communicate well enough. Um, I guess I'll bring this up. The ending shot was also probably, like, I'm sure there's like some some symbol metaphorical stuff going on that I just didn't understand, but I just thought it was kind of silly and a mood killer. It ends with everyone just looking at all the dead corpses in the dirt, and suddenly everyone in the crowd is laying in the dirt, as if in the skeletons, all the corpses place. And I just thought that was really weird. It was kind of funny, very off-putting. And then there was a quote, and I think it roughly said something along the lines of, no matter what the world says, you can, honestly, I have no idea, but something along the lines of, speak up, um you're not unheard, something like that. I'm not sure, but otherwise this movie was great. I liked it a lot. It's definitely my favorite movie of this year so far. Unfortunately, I wish I would have seen it in 2021, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, this movie's going above Poupelle and the of Chimney Town as my number one so far. I'd say go see this movie if you have a chance. It was great. Thank you.